Well, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome on in. Happy New Year. Can you believe we're in 2026 and it's almost over? Let us know in the chat where you are Zooming from. We got over 100 people already here, just waiting in the waiting room. So thank you so much. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm like really taken back with the number of people who registered for this event. I would say close to 1,000. It was over 700. So this is a topic that people really wanted to hear. So thank you all for letting us know in the chat where you are zooming from. They're coming in fast. We got North Carolina, South Carolina, Colorado, California, Delaware in the house, Missouri, DC, Arizona. I love it. Thank you so much. We are going to start in just about 30 seconds because it's a lot to cover today. A lot to cover. Thank you again for being here today. Today, we're going to be talking about AI, artificial intelligence, and this is the Impact Hour for nonprofits. You know how special this event is? It's special because you are here. I'm so excited that you said yes, you signed up, and you showed up. My name is, you've probably seen me on the webinars before, but if this is your first time to TechSoup, welcome, 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 welcome. I'm going to show you how you can engage because we're going to move super, super fast. This is being recorded. There's going to be a demo, a short demo today. So no slides will be sent to you. The video replay will be sent to you. We have members here. If you can see my panelists on the screen, they're going to be there to answer your questions in the Q&A. So if you have a question, we would love for you to put it in the Q&A because we know hundreds of you will be putting them in the chat. We'll try to grab them, many team members here that'll be able to help us. But if you need closed caption, you can do that in multiple language. I love how Zoom has made that in multiple language. So click on the CC button if you need the closed caption. I'm going to ask you to do this for me. This is so important. There's going to be a survey that's going to pop up when you leave, because I know many of you have to leave early. Just 3 simple questions. Can you give me 3 minutes and answer those 3 simple questions for me? That would be helpful. I'm going to kick us off with a short poll. You can answer this in the chat, but the poll is going to show up on the screen in just a second. If you give me just a second, I will launch this poll. This is very important. I'm kind of curious to find out, when you hear the word AI, artificial intelligence, what's the first reaction or the feeling you get? Are you curious? Because there's some people who said they haven't tried it. You feel overwhelmed because you went to a webinar and you tried a little bit, you're unsure, you're cautious. Are you cautious? Are you already experimenting? If there's other, go ahead and put them in the chat. I would love to hear. Lots of people are saying other. I want to see what they're saying in the chat. Let's see. Already experimenting. People saying they're already experimenting. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm very compelled by what it does. Okay. Somebody says other it, already use it. Some people say, I love it. I love it. I love it. Already experiment, but curious. I love this. Feels like cheating. Oh my, the way you said that sounds like a relationship. Oh my goodness. Somebody said excited and eager. I love it, love it, love it. Well, I'm going to end this poll because almost finished. It's like 81% of you here using it for personal and not for business yet. Well, when you start, there is the results. When you start using it for your business, especially your nonprofit, you're going to see how it's going to level you up. So most people said they're already experimenting. I love it. So this is a little different crowd than I expected today. I'm going to stop sharing because when I did a survey earlier, and we did a survey for a few people, and they said most of us are not using AI. We are afraid to use it. We haven't started yet. So you know what I did when I had started this webinar? I said I wanted to do it as a Zoom meeting, but when we got to 500 people, I knew there was no way I could manage 500 people in a chat or asking me questions. And so I changed it to webinar style. So the faces you see here, there are people who said, yes, we have experience, or we don't mind sharing our experience. So those are the people you see here that are here in the chat. And I'm going to ask them to put their website in the chat. So you'll see their names and you can check them out. Some of them, well, all of them are members, but we have a few colleagues here. And if the colleagues can put their name, email in the chat, say, hey, I'm Lashika, reach out to me, Kevin Mulhall, Kelly Garrett, let us know your title and how people can reach out to you. Thank you so much for doing that so that you'll see who is here in the chat. So what I want to do, I had an agenda and I said, you know what? We had so much great conversation earlier. I'm not going to follow the agenda. What I'm going to do is talk about, see, and you guys helped me. A lot of people said they were very excited. For those of you who have not started using AI, what I want to do was talk to our panelists first. I'm going to kick it off to the panelists and then I'm going to do a little demo a little later in the webinar. So you probably see Tom Brown here. He's thinking Tom has been so instrumental. And I say instrumental because he's replied to my emails with questions. So there are people who say, hey, I want to be here. I want to show up, but I also have questions too. So Tom, I'm curious, tell us a little about your nonprofit and what ways have you used AI to help your nonprofit?
So my name is Tom Brown. I work for the Aspire Institute. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for our organization. We're a spinoff of Harvard Business School that works with first generation college students from 190 countries around the world. In terms of AI, all of us probably use AI to some level, talking to our phones, talking to Siri or the speaker and that sort of stuff. So in reality, most of our staff have used it at that level. Secondly, uh, we have had a number of folks experiment with sort of personal kinds of things. They got to write something, a little bit of documentation, a little bit of research, and that sort of stuff. So they use those methods. But as a program, we also get, last year we had about 615,000 applications and assessments that came to us. We're a teeny tiny small team. And so we have to use technology to review that sort of stuff. We have a set of applications for grants that we use to give grants for extending um, uh, academic work for things like TOEFL tests and GRE tests, small project grants and regular grants. We're using Google's Gemini as part of that assessment, not to decide who gets the money, but to do some striation, to pull the ones that are like 4 word answers to a question that we're asking folks to think about away from the ones that are like thoughtful, detailed kinds of responses. And then our team, which again, I say is very small. I mean, we're probably 10, 12 folks in our Cambridge offices. Um, they then will take a look at the highest ones, but they'll also take a look at the medium and lowest just to make sure that technology is fine.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Remy, we talked a little earlier. I'm excited to find that you have already been teaching AI. What made you get into AI and what are some of your concerns about AI and privacy?
Yeah, thank you, Aretha, and thanks for putting on this great event. Really glad to be with all of you. So my name is Remy. I work at Compass Pro Bono. We're a national nonprofit that supports local nonprofits with a bunch of things, including AI support now. I put the links in the chat and I'll put them back in there if you want to sort of sign up for any other webinars we're doing with AI education. The early days of AI for me were early 2023, which was couple months after ChatGPT was launched in November 2022. And I was just kind of captivated with the idea that this technology was available and it seemed so promising early on. We've obviously seen a lot of new applications since then. And I became kind of fascinated on a personal level. So over the last 2, 3 years, I've really gone deep on reading books and listening to podcasts about AI and understanding the AI industry. And it has given me, I would say, I guess it's really empowered me as a member of the nonprofit community and someone who works in the social sector to engage in this conversation in a really meaningful way. And so that kind of personal fascination has led to this personal mission and now organizational mission to really educate the sector and help people become AI literate. Because I think the only way we get a world where AI is pro-social and beneficial and humanitarian is one in which the social sector is an active participant in the dialogue. So I'm really glad that everyone on this call is here because you all are part of that change. You all are making it possible for AI to be steered in the right direction. And to answer your question, Aretha, about my concerns. I have many concerns. I think I'll just echo some of what I hear typically when I go out and give workshops or speak at conferences on AI, which is that there's a lot of fear about over reliance on the technology, the sort of loss of critical thinking. In the social sector in particular, I think there's a lot of concern about how it affects our interfacing with the people we support, our communities, because nonprofit work is so human to human and warm touch. And it's really important that as stewards of this technology and leaders in this conversation, especially as the social sector is adopting AI and sort of trying to, catch up to the hype train, we think about change management and thoughtful integration and where the human sits in the loop, right? So I'm happy to go deeper on this conversation. I think it's a really important one. I certainly don't want to take up all the air, but I do want to just encourage everyone as you walk away from this conversation today to think really critically about what it looks like to keep your mission at the fore and AI as an augmentor, a supporter of that mission, as opposed to something that gets in the way or cuts in, right? And to me, and most of the folks that I've worked with on AI integration, that means responsible, thoughtful, correctly paced AI integration and keeping the human at the center through every process.
Wow. Wow. You and Tom both have given us a lot to think about already. So that, yeah, now I'm kind of stuck and I know we don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but yeah, we definitely have to have you back to talk about that so we can go deeper. Before I move on, I want to ask, would you put a one in the chat if you're using AI for your nonprofit? Because I know a lot of you may be using it personally. Put a one in the chat if you're using it for your nonprofit. Put a two in the chat if you're using it just for you. You haven't used it for your nonprofit at all. Okay, so a lot of people are using it for a nonprofit. A few people are using it just for themselves. So this is good to know because this is kind of guide the conversation. I would like to ask the panelists, and I would like for you to use the raise your hand option because this is open to all of you. In what ways have AI helped your nonprofit this year? So if you can use the raise your hand option at this point, because we do have quite a few panelists, I want to give everybody the opportunity to speak. So whoever raises their hand first, okay, the panelists, and I would definitely let the attendees, okay, go ahead, Claudia. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Claudia Humphrey. I am a consultant for nonprofits as well as operating a nonprofit organization. And AI has just been phenomenal in the way that we do the work that we do with nonprofit organizations, from helping nonprofits who just only have a mission statement and maybe one or two, three ideas of what their nonprofit is going to do, but having nothing else that they can use to tell the story. One of the AI softwares or AIs that I use is called Gamma app, and Gamma has been very instrumental in helping me to build the story for nonprofit organizations. As we know, nonprofit organizations are in the trenches doing the work and can do it very well. Where we lose connection is being able to share that story and to tell that story. So using what nonprofits already have, and most nonprofits have a mission statement. Most nonprofits can tell you in one or two, three sentences what it is their organization will do. And I can take those pieces, those small pieces of information, throw it into Gamma, and then out comes this beautiful story of what that particular nonprofit is working on.
I love it. I see your hand, Johnny. Go ahead.
Wow, I'm Johnny with Johnny William Associates, as well as we have a nonprofit that's called Raise Up Nation. And the way that we have utilized AI is actually to augment, to grow, and to expand. To do research that would take us hours and hours to do, we are redeeming our time by literally utilizing AI. Now, the thing I'll say about AI, and Remy talked about it, and so many others have talked about it, is this: artificial intelligence can never replace authentic interactions. I'm going to say it again. Artificial intelligence, we were designed and created to have authentic interactions. So, as a nonprofit or even as a for profit, we have to remember that human connection outweighs, and that's the thing that we're missing. There's an AI opens up this door for having a lot of information but no revelation. So as we move forward, as we look at things, the critical thinking becomes more important than ever, to not just utilize AI, any a source of information, and just use that as your only point of interaction to move forward. And the thing that I have learned about AI is this, and I hope it helps someone in the room, is that this: I question it. I know how we want to show up as our identity of the organization. So don't drift from where you are and who you are, what your basic understanding, what your core values are, by putting them and dropping them in AI. Allow AI to learn you, but not to cause you to drift from where you are. So those are the things that we use it for. Our nonprofit is about transforming mindsets, and that's where the critical thinking comes in, right? And we are work globally to help people transform and bridge the gap between what they know and what they do, because that gap is action. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Michelle, give me 1 second. I see Kim said one grant we applied for asked if we use AI for which questions, to which platform, and why. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get into that too. So, Michelle, thank you so much. And thank you for that, Johnny. Go ahead.
Thanks for having me here today. So I work for the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Communications. We are a nonprofit in Oklahoma that also runs a museum. I think within our company, we have multiple tiers of AI usage. And I also want to clarify really fast. This is generative AI that we're talking about, not just AI. AI started off with Siri, with Alexa. Generative AI is creating something. I think that's all where we have that ethical concern, because if you are using generative AI and using it verbatim, it is a source now. Ethically speaking, you must cite that as a source if you do not change it and make it your own. Hence, as Johnny said, the overview of human and the aspect of the human interaction is more critical than it ever has been. So when I talk about different layers within our organization of where AI, I think the base is you help it to write out of office messages. You help it to write emails. Make this sound more human. Make me not sound like I'm sorry, BITCH. Those sort of things that help you work. The next level up is, I saw a lot in the chat, brainstorming things for press releases, brainstorming social media posts, helping with brain block. I would consider that the next level. What really takes generative AI to the next level, I think, is when you make it change the way you work, not just help you work. And that's where it creates strategy for you and speaks to you and learns from you like a human. I'm going to give you a couple of examples that we have done internally here. When we launched our new website a couple of years ago, we used it to create SEO descriptions for all 750 members that we have, and then integrated that automatically into our website to optimize SEO on Google. It was done in less than 5 minutes versus what might take someone hours, possibly days to do. Likewise, we are getting ready to hit our 100th year next year. We are currently 99 years old, about ready to create a massive milestone. As such, we are going to be featuring each of our Hall of Fame members every single day on our Instagram channel. It has already started. Go follow Oklahoma HOF on Instagram if you are not. And we did that through multiple series of an AI step process. We took the information that was on our website, exported it into Excel, then used AI to make each of those bios for each of those members into a certain character count automatically, not creating new data, just using it there to summarize to a character count. Then put that in, imported the spreadsheet into Canva, used the bulk create function, had a pre-standard design in Canva. It created 200 Instagram stories in 2 seconds. So it is changing the way we operate on a daily basis. The thing I most recently did personally is I had it help me create my strategic plan for my department. The prompting here is key. you have to ask it what else it needs from you. So I didn't just give it my existing plan, my data stats for an Excel spreadsheet, my website. I said, if I want you to help me create realistic goals and improve these areas of my organization, what additional information do you need to me to give me the best response? That is how you then get the best use out of AI. Sorry, I kind of rattled there for a
No,
bit.
awesome, awesome. We're gonna do Remy, and then I'm gonna do a short demo, and then we're gonna go back to panelists. Go ahead, Remy.
Great. Thanks, Aretha. I just wanted to say two quick things. So one is, I mean, plus one to everything that folks said. I think it's really helpful to hear use cases and ways other people are thinking about it, especially what Michelle just said at the end, this point about like training AI on how you work to understand you, right? Memory is one of the most powerful features in large language models in particular. And allowing, if you have an enterprise grade tool, which I recommend for every organization for data privacy, closed loop security. If you have an enterprise or pro plan and you're chatting with it and it's learning about your organization and how you work over time, that will feed into how it works and how it responds. And you can iterate on what you get from large language models to get better results over time. That's some of the magic of machine learning, which is the technology underpinning generative AI, modern generative AI. So two super quick things. One is I think hearing use cases is really helpful. I think that thinking through frameworks for understanding your own organization's work is also really helpful. And I just wanted to share one that we created. It's in the chat right now, the brain versus hands framework. This just links to a Google Doc or a PDF, which has this framework that I created for my team that we've started to share out at conferences and other workshops. And it's a way to basically think about what types of work are good candidates for AI versus automation and or neither of the above, right? So hopefully that's helpful for some of you. It's really just thinking about, AI tends to be good at augmenting the brain work, right? What are the kinds of work that really need my brain and my intellect and my expertise, right? And can I train AI to supplement that? Automation is very good at if-then statements and just, playing out certain workflows. So you can use automation tools like Zapier or Make.com to sort of supplement that kind of work, right? The other thing I wanted to say is that there are a lot of kinds of, and this is sort of in response to Carla's question in the Q&A, there are a lot of kinds of AI. When we talk about AI, we sort of overuse this term generally, right? Maybe we're using it sort of colloquially to refer to ChatGPT and other large language models, but the field goes back to the 50s, right? The academic field goes back to the 50s. And really what AI means is just any technology that mimics human intelligence. So there are a lot of different things bundled within that. And I'd encourage all of you to think beyond just large language models. There are AI dictation tools that my team uses. I can just press a key on my computer and it'll type everything that I'm saying because it's exceptionally good at recognizing speech patterns. There are AI meeting note takers, many of you have used, and they're really good at picking up on speech patterns as well. There are AI networking tools. There's one called Happenstance I really like that sort of combine everyone's networks and allow you to sort of plug into your team's community. So there's a lot that goes beyond just generative AI and large language models, but it requires peeling back the layers a bit. And large language models like ChatGPT are really good in. That's why I often start with those in trainings, because most people, when they think about AI, they're thinking about that. But I'd encourage you to look into the other tools that go beyond that, because there may be some specialized for the kinds of work that you do that will actually give you better results than a generic large language model.
Thank you for addressing that, because I was going to say something to Carla and to everybody about that. We're using the term AI just broad, gray, if you will, because we be adding all these other letters and numbers to it if we change it to something else. So I appreciate you saying that. I'm going to do a little short demo, and while I'm setting this up, little known fact, I spent 20 years in the US Navy as an IT, so I do understand we've been using AI for a long time, and the government was the first to experiment on a lot of things. So when we use the term AI, and some of you may come back to another one, we're not just talking about, ChatGPT. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So I appreciate you making that comment, Carla, and also Remy for responding to that. So those of you who are new to ChatGPT or any AI, I'm just going to do a ChatGPT demo. I created just a blank account, and I'm doing this because Michelle said something that was very key for you all to keep in mind. This is a brand new account, fresh new account I'm opening up. So you would just go to chatgpt.com, set up your account. I believe, I don't know if, I logged in. I'm going to fast forward to all this. I use Gmail. If you have Google Workspace, you can use that. You can use, it prefers a Gmail, but here I just created this account. It asks for my email. Again, I'm going to fast forward on certain parts because I just wanted you to see certain things. Here it tells you don't share sensitive information, because people always say, I'm afraid about privacy. It's telling you don't share information because they're going to use it. Check your facts. They're telling you to make sure you check your facts. It's not intended to give you advice. So they're telling you right there, they're putting their disclaimer. So, okay, let's get started. And one thing that I want to tell you that Michelle was talking about, make it learn you, and a lot of other people, I think Johnny said as well, when you're setting up the account, you want to go to your settings and you want to make sure you go to these functions and personalize it to your nonprofit, because it's very important for it to get to know you, for it to get to know your nonprofit. Otherwise, it's going to be giving you answers that it's pulling from all the other large language models. So I'm going to skip this part asking you how you want to respond. If you want to be nice, you know, ChatGPT will tell you, you're wonderful, you're beautiful, you're fantastic, that's incredible, you're a genius. But you know, don't take all that in. I just be honest. I said, give it to me straight. Tell me the truth. That's what I want to know. Tell me the truth. So if I scroll down, I'm going to scroll down in just a moment. Occupation, I just put in something, but you want to put in maybe you're the founder of this nonprofit. But here, I made a little note more about you. You want to put in your bio or resume, or if this is about your nonprofit, you want to put in something about your nonprofit. You could add in your nonprofit's website. You can add in just your mission, more than your mission, as much as you can add in about. When you start talking to it, it's going to say, oh, and I know you like this. And oh, I know on Wednesdays, you guys feed the homeless. Oh, so you want to set your, this is why I want to say, I want to show you this quick demo for you to personalize it. And I want to challenge you all. We're at the new year. How many of you have started working on creating your impact stories from last year? Because donors love storytelling. If you can create an impact story, either from your donors or from the people, your constituents who you've helped, that would help a lot when you're getting ready to write your grants. I'm going to fast forward for this because this thing is like 27 minutes. We don't want to do that. So what I did was, oh, there's something I did want to show you. Now, again, this is the basic account, but if you want to collaborate with somebody in your team, you can click that button over here and start a group chat so everybody can be collaborating with you in this chat GPT, which is so helpful. I was just working with a friend. I was like, I don't feel like doing this. I know chat GPT can help me, but I don't feel like doing this part in Canva. Can you do it? And she says, hey, send me your link so I can see what you were talking about and I can create the graphics for you. This is how you can use chat GPT to help you with that. So you would give them the invitation link. I'm going to fast forward for a little bit. I tag me on this. It's going to say, hey, I tag you in this. Want me to help you with something while you're waiting? Just looping you in. So that's going to send them a little message. And now what I did was I went in here and gave ChatGPT, I got to move some things on my screen. I told ChatGPT I want to have it, you guys know what prompt means. Put in the chat what prompt means, because a lot of people don't know. You hear all this language, what's prompt mean? You want to give it a prompt and you want to tell it to act as if you were Steve Jobs or somebody like that. Yes, I love what you guys are putting in the chat. You're just telling it what to say. You're just telling it what to say. So yes, I'm here. Oh, can somebody go on mute, please? Everybody go on mute. So I'm telling this ChatGPT to ask if you're president of Goodwill Industry, and I want you to write a strategic plan. I recorded this because you know when you're on Zoom, how things may tend to go slow. Can you all make sure you're on mute when things tend to go slow? That it may freeze up. So I pre-recorded this and recorded my screen because I have a Mac, and that noise that you hear is probably me rubbing against something when I was recording this. So I'm telling it to act as if they're president of Goodwill Industries and write an action plan and a strategic plan. Yes, I spelled something wrong. It will notice you spelled it wrong. It will fix this. I put fundraising. I went back and corrected, but I said write a strategy for growth for the entire year and also include a budget and a fundraising strategy. So once I did that, it took a few minutes, and I want you guys to do this for yourself if you can. If you haven't done this already, it's very helpful. Again, thank you so much. I love you guys in the chat. You guys are fantastic. So I'm gonna scroll down a little bit and just show you. It was thinking. Sometimes it takes experience. I gave it a lot of things to do, and I'm telling you, this plan would be given to the executive director, the board of directors for approval, because you're a nonprofit, your board should be approving things, and the advisory board if you have an advisory board. So if I scroll down, I kind of want to let you see some of the things it gave me. It told me what it gave me. Okay. You can copy this directly into your document for presentation, but here is the thing: the action plan, fiscal year, planning period, executive summary. I'm not gonna go through all of this, but I did want you to see kind of what it gave me. This may give you some ideas to start your planning for this year, because what we plan to do in Quad, how many of you are members of Quad? Put a 1 in the chat. If you're a member of TechSoup Quad, put a 1 in the chat. I would love to see if you're a member of TechSoup Quad. I love it. We got some Quad members here. So we're going to actually do this. We're going to actually do this in Quad. So you can see kind of what it did for me. Somebody said, what is that? What is that? What is Quad? Some of our members from TechSoup will put the link for Quad in the chat. But if you go to TechSoup, it'll be right at the top, Quad. But basically, Quad is a paid annual membership. And again, I told you, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just telling you about TechSoup membership, since I mentioned Quad, because we're going to go dive deeper, where you pay an annual membership. It's a one-time fee, but you go a little bit deeper. You're in groups. You have access to over 200 nonprofit courses. 10 members of your nonprofit does. You're in small group sessions, peer-to-peer learning, and you have access to deeper discounts on products. But again, I'm going to fast forward this, and I'm going to get to the end. So it asked me, do you want me to make your board presentation? Do you want me to do this? I said, convert this into a board presentation. And so it did. But Claudia mentioned Gamma in the chat. So I could put this slide information that it gave me into Gamma, and it'll create me a beautiful presentation. But what I did, instead of doing that, I put it in Lovable. So I sent it to Lovable. I said, create a Lovable presentation, and it created the code. And then I did a copy and paste, and then I went to Lovable and logged in. I'm going to scroll over. And so all I did was I copied that code, and I pasted in Lovable. I didn't tell it, I didn't say, do this, do that. I just copied the direct code, because Lovable was intuitive enough to, yes, she said she loved Lovable. It was intuitive enough to know what I wanted. And you guys, this is AI Impact Hour. So if you have links to share, if you have codes, like I have Lovable, and if it says, hey, share this, claim your points, share it in the chat. Guys, do it. This is the Impact Hour. We make an impact on each other. So it's important to do that. So I'm going to fast forward, because it took about 5 minutes, and it created this slide. Those are some things I did earlier. I did some for AI and Amen. I talked about the church. So I did a webinar presentation for a church. And so it created those beautiful slides, as you can see. For that, it was great. But this is what it did for my presentation for what I just asked, being Goodwill Industry. So it created these slides. I was okay with the slides, but I thought it was too dark. And so what I did was, over here in the chat section, I said, too dark. Can you make it lighter? And then add me some images. And so if I go a little further, it created that, and it started making my presentation lighter. I like bright. That's for me. And then further along, it added images. I love you guys are connecting in chat. So it added images, and so you can see the review. I like this, that it add program missions and an expense report. So my whole strategic plan was made for me. So again, I want to challenge you to use it for this. I don't want to use it just for I see people making images, and those are cute, but I need me a strategic plan so I can make some money, right? Is that what we're trying to do here? That's what we need to do. I need the strategic plan so we can make some money. So this is just a demonstration of what you can use it for. Now I want to go back to my panelists and have a conversation with you guys. You guys have been putting out fire. I mean, mic drop moments. So, and I really appreciate it. I want to hear from some people who haven't spoke yet. Um, have you used ChatGPT to tell some impact stories? And while you're raising your hand, I want to share a little story with you. I was scrolling my Facebook feed, and one of my people on Facebook said her husband had passed away, and people had left their nonprofit, but they still had to make an impact. And she's still doing the work, and she was just making a comment, trying to encourage other people. You know, even though you go through these hard times, even though you go through these struggles, to continue doing the work that you've been called to do. And I thought, wow. And I said, how can I encourage her? What way can I encourage her? And I sent her a message in the chat, and I said, hey, you know, while you're going out, make sure that you are creating impact stories from the people you've touched, the people who you fed this year or this month or last year. You know, write a story about them. You don't have to use their name. You don't have to say, you know, we helped Remy, and if Remy, we didn't help Remy, Remy would have, you know, been in the hospital longer. No, you can use your name. I'll use my name for every impact story and tell them, you know, for privacy purposes, I'm using my name for every impact story. But you can use the things that you've done for your impact story, and even your story is the impact story. So I want to challenge you to use AI for this when you're writing your grants. I see people saying, I encourage you to use Perplexity, Claude, Chat. There are so many different AI tools that you can use. Again, we're using AI broadly. So I want to ask, who has used AI to create your impact story or your fundraising statement or your fundraising strategies this year? Let us know in the chat. And my panelists, feel free to answer that.
Hey, Aretha, while folks are pinging in there, I've seen the same question a bunch of times, just asking if the chat that we have in the webinar is going to be included in the recording and slide deck email that we always send out after webinars. I said I believe it is included, but wanted you to confirm that.
Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, and I told the panelists earlier, so thank you for bringing that up. So the chat is, you know what? For the sake of this, I'm gonna send it out because there's how many people? Almost 300 people here. I normally don't, but what I'm gonna have to do is create a link in Google Drive. I'm in Google Doc to the chat, and so it'll be in the replay. I normally just tell people to just request it. So yeah, I'll send it out. So thank you so much. Tom, you wanted to say something earlier. Did we miss you earlier?
Yeah, I was just going to thank you for the lovely presentation that you did, and really appreciated you noting that when you brought up the general public account for ChatGPT, it says, hey, look, we could use this content. The way that these large language models work is they basically are told to read the internet and then predict what word comes after you based on what it said. That said, you probably don't want to put in financial things. You probably don't want to put strategic budget things. You probably don't want to put things about terminations and that sort of stuff into a public ChatGPT. However, many of the paid accounts, you got to read the fine print, will keep the material that you're putting in separate from the material that they're training with. And I just invite the folks who are participating here to recognize that difference. And Remy, you mentioned this earlier as well, and I really appreciate your point. But as I was looking at the demo, that was one of the things that was alive for me in that moment.
Yeah, and that was the demo account. So the demo account was a free account, and I'm glad you brought that up. So free, and then there's the $20 account, which you get more. You can create more images. Then there's $40. But now I'm hearing that ChatGPT is getting ready to offer an $8 account because they're going to start adding advertisement. And somebody brought this up earlier that these ChatGPTs and all these things that we're using, they're going to be for the elite. And hear me out. Not everybody's going to be able to afford them later. So while we have the opportunity to use them to create branding products for your nonprofit, go ahead and use it. And especially while some of them are free, because as we're every day, new ones are coming out, and they give you an opportunity to use a free, free account for a little time, or, free points, and then you have to pay a fee. So I just want to challenge you to, take advantage of the free accounts if you can. And then as you grow, if you can, the screen recording, somebody asked for the screen recording. It's going to be a part of the video replay that you get. So I want to make sure that I'm not leaving out any questions that were in the Q&A. I'm going to go to the Q&A for a moment. Yes, somebody said not exact question, but I recommend that you highlight the hallucination. Yes, that's what I was definitely hallucinate. There was a video that I wanted to show you guys, but I couldn't put it up. I saw it was a funny video somebody had on AI. They had their phone, and on the paid account you can actually talk. When I'm in my car, I'll put my speaker on and I'll talk to AI. While I'm driving. You can write a whole book while you're driving in the car just with AI. But this person asked AI how to spell committee, and it spelled it CAMMITTTEE. And they said, so that's 2 T's or 3 T's? Oh, you're right. Thank you for correcting me. It's 3 T's. They said, I didn't correct you. You didn't correct yourself. Is it 2 T's? It kept going back and forth, and it kept spelling it with 3 T's. And then it said, well, okay, since it's 3 T's, is it 3 E's? No, it's just 3 T's and 2 E's. So yes, ChatGPT does make mistakes. So I love that. Somebody said, I have Copilot. What do you think about this AI? I love it. And I'm going to bring Kevin Mulhall to the stage to talk about Copilot, because I also love Copilot and we have it. So why not use it? Kevin, are you here with us? Is there a fee for Copilot?
So there are versions of Copilot that are included, or a version of Copilot that is included within a core or non-specific license, like a business basic, a business standard, a business premium license. It's gone through a couple of different names. So that anybody that's followed it for a while, it was originally called Bing Chat, I believe, for Enterprise, and that probably didn't land very well. And then it's ultimately found its way now to Copilot Chat. Um, the nice thing about that is that it has enterprise data protection built in. It's basically like a wrapper, like where you have just the model itself, and you are directly communicating with that model in an isolated manner. It harkens back to the earlier days where it might have even been used in a more localized environment, and not even necessarily accessed perhaps from the web from the earlier days, um, so that your information is obviously not used to train the model. And Yeah, it offers that level of security. A point of note with that, like going back to the limitation piece, is people have probably noticed in the past that you only have the ability to search through, like, for example, GPT 3.0. I believe the limitation for search timeline was September of 2023, or even perhaps maybe even before that. It kind of follows a similar logic, as it's not searching or scraping the web. So yeah. If it's okay, I'm just actually going to show really quick. I'm at 43, so I'm going to try to do this in like less than just a minute so people could see this. I have my email and I'll toss it in again so they can see what it's more so built around, the different versions of it. The free version and the quote unquote paid version of it are built around some different functionalities. If everybody could just give me like a thumbs up or a one or something that they can see my screen that I'm sharing. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So on the right-hand side, I actually have a nonprofit on the side. Not that that's relevant, but just so you know, this is not the same actual tenant account. So this is the free version. You can see here, upgrade Copilot. No, thank you. I'm not going to do that. I have it for work, and I personally find that I can get by with what the basic model offers, and I pay for a business premium license. So for my nonprofit, so whatever, I'm all good here. You'll notice here that there's nothing and this middle part of the header of the display here, you have auto, and then there are a couple of different options that you get. Like you've probably seen this iteration elsewhere, like to think like deeper thinking. The idea is that it's not, it's kind of steering slightly away from like more predictive response returns. Which Tom had put forth earlier. The idea is that it is processing using even different algorithms in order to create a more like organic or natural or nuanced response, especially around more complex topics where it's struggled like math. But that's available in there as well. This right here is the enterprise data protection I was speaking of. But you'll notice here, like there's, well, I can add certain files and chat with an agent. It's important to know that there are limitations around these. But this is what you kind of, so what you see is what you get. Um, there's a lot going on, and a lot of people will find that this is helpful. If we circle over here on the left, this is where is an example of the paid add-on license. This is really kind of where it shines. As you see that I have delineated tabs for work and for web. This will allow for live updated access based on web resources that it scrapes. I don't believe that there is a time limitation based on this. The underlying model of Copilot, by the way, is ChatGPT. Microsoft, I think, paid $10 billion for access to the base code. And then Microsoft actually has its own large language model, which it developed. I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me, but it does work in conjunction with the OpenAI model. But this part is the part where it really kind of stands out, is the work end. What this does through the add-on is it allows me to access. You can already see it's kind of given like recommendations here. It allows me to access like what's going on like within my account. And some of this stuff requires specific prompting, but it has access to my Outlook email, both the actual mail messages as well as my calendar, contacts. I run Teams premium licensing with this, so I can also get access to transcript recaps without actually necessarily having to go within Teams. If I recorded Teams messages, they're stored in Streams or Clipchamp. I can ask for like some simpler questions around it. Like it's not necessarily going to get too complex. But the big thing with here is around like their agent list. This has kind of become all the rage is agentic AI for people that are kind of maybe earlier adopters. They're kind of moving forward along that timeline, going from just generalized models to I want to train my own models and I want them in an isolated way. So I actually I've created a marketing assistant model that I trained on OneDrive and SharePoint document libraries. But yeah, they've really kind of taken this up a level. The free version is going to offer some of these that you can see on the right side: the learning coach, the writing coach, the prompt coach, the idea coach. Okay, yeah, those are all cool and good. But if you're really kind of moved a little bit farther along in the Microsoft space into the things that you're using, especially if you're SharePoint folks, which I'm a huge fan of, the ability to bring agents directly into SharePoint is actually what I'm doing. I'm building. We have a group Microsoft program team site. I'm going to be bringing agents in there and training them on both our billing data for our CSP program and to analyze our Power BI workspaces, so that if I need like financial information or details around changes in monthly or annual recurring revenue, blah, 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 I can grab all that. That can be repurposed to touch whatever grants, like, more of the more like non-nerdy, like operational areas. You could really kind of purpose that and train that to do what it is that you want. Um, I obviously am Microsoft centric, but I also have, and I saw in there, I have Gemini Pro as well. I do really, actually, honestly, legitimately love Copilot, and I could not function without it. As you can see, my chat history is literally like a mile long. But I also think that Gemini is good in its own ways. It does have the capability to create some additional elements and areas that maybe are slightly outside the scope of like the professional framework for me, but it might work for other people. I believe somebody brought up DeepMind. Google is really kind of on the forefront with some of that stuff. If you're not into Google Labs, experimental labs, If it makes sense for you to take a look at those and maybe sign up some people on your team, you can enable that feature in your Google Workspace admin account. I love Notebook LM. I saw a couple people put it in there. You could use that to create a podcast, which honestly, I really feel that that's an area that the nonprofit space kind of ignores. I could be wrong. Sure, people could correct me in the chat, like, "Oh, you don't listen to this podcast or that podcast." You're right, I don't. But like, there's definitely something to be said for that area as well. And then just to wrap, because I went way over, is to the point that I had made about like, what do you want to get like out of AI? Like to me, I think about it from a technical lens because that's really kind of what I do. Now, somebody will come to me to talk to me like about XYZ. Like I find that I believe that time is money and it's also a value. I think one of the good things to do is that if you're talking to me or talking to another expert, an advisor, a consultant, or whatever, is use and leverage these AI models. Like some people, like, and somebody had brought up, like, I've built a website off of it. Yeah, like HTML, CSS, like front end stuff, like AI models are great for. I've had problems with some of the more advanced scripting that I don't have a strong JavaScript background, and I found that I've struggled with that. But the point being is, what I'm going to use it for is that if I'm going to talk to somebody, a managed service provider, a cloud solutions provider, anybody that's in the technical space, you don't need to be technical, but I don't want to say protect yourself, but I'm going to use that for lack of words because I've seen a lot of like not like good behavior from some folks, like when it comes to interacting with us in our space, like quotes that are 5 or 10 times the amount of what they should be for a product or service. That's where I think that there's some value into this is the technology planning and or implementation, because what you want to do is that if you're migrating from Google to Microsoft or Microsoft to Google or whatever have you, you're doing anything in that nature, be educated to some degree about that, because when you know what you're saying when you're talking to organizations, they could be very trustworthy, these providers, but a job that takes 15 hours should not be getting billed for 40 hours. So
Wow.
that's kind of where I would approach that is I've seen some things that I kind of, and they're not people that thank God we work with, but I have seen some things come in where I'm just like, there is no way that that costs like $28,000. Like this is, I know for a fact this is 8 to 12 hours. We can't do it, but we know some people that can either directly or outside of our network, and this is what they're probably going to charge you. Like, and that's just, it's overscoped. And another thing is like around the technology planning, and I promise I'll wrap, is um like looking at like what you use and what you have. Like you should be inventorying the technologies you use. Like I'm biased. I think technology is a forethought instead of technology is an afterthought, but that's because that's the space I occupy. But to me, like I bring up an example from a call that I had the end of last year. There was an organization that was running two different time management software platforms to manage contractors that they had. I'm thinking that they came from, if memory serves me, grant funding, either the county or state level or federal level or whatever have you, and this and that. And they were paying over $12,000 or $13,000 for these two softwares. All they needed to do was to set up an Intuit developer account and then use us. I believe that Remy brought up Zapier, which I was so glad that he did because like Microsoft has Power Automate, but it's kind of like I'm on the fence about it. Um, they were able to set up a developer account with Intuit, use a Zapier API flow to push information like punch in or sign in information or whatever they call it when you check in, because I don't have a clock in. There you go. Um, from Microsoft Teams Shifts app directly ultimately into their Intuit account. And the project cost $1,800 and it was a one-time thing and they don't have to pay for those softwares anymore. That's like to me, if you're talk like with an AI about like as a strategy or take again to get in character, talk like, somebody not maybe from McKinnison, like no bias if there's any McKinnison people here, but like, somebody from one of like a technology advisor, what can I do with what I have to make it work better or to get rid of some of it? And like that's what everything should be striving towards.
Kevin, thank you so much. Kevin, Steve Jobs, Mohol, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kevin. And listen, everybody, we're like 6 minutes out. I want to know, what is your one takeaway from this AI Impact Hour? It's been impactful for me already. I don't know about you. I've learned so much from you all. See, because it's not about just one person. We make impact on each other when we share our ideas, our thoughts, we multiply our talents together. This has been amazing. I'm going to put the link for next AI Impact. It's February 25th. Make sure that you are here. If you would like to be a panelist, please check that box that says, yes, I would like to be a panelist, and share on that. I'm going to put the link here. Make sure you sign up for it. Look at the takeaways. Wow, much more potential here than I thought. Yes, ma'am, Leah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is so much. And see, Kevin, people get you. People like, Kevin, where do I sign up? Where do I sign up? I love it. Somebody said, drinking from a firehouse, definitely need the chat. You're definitely going to get the chat as well. I totally get it. It's a lot of information. Again, it's an hour that we're just open, and we're open to whichever way we flow. Like I said, I want to have an agenda, but no agenda. We're just going to flow. And thank you all for being here. When you leave, there's going to be a 3-question survey. Take 3 minutes to fill out that survey. I'm going to continue reading your chats. Somebody said, wow, so amazing. Thank you so much. Look forward to the next one. I look forward to the next one. I look forward to seeing you as well. Let's see who was. Hope to get this webinar recording to share with my team. You will get this recording, and please share. And for those of you who know other nonprofits who are not signed up, this webinar, these webinars are free. You don't have to be a member to attend these webinars. We want you to become a member. We want everybody to become a member, but feel free to share this. It's going to be on our YouTube channel as well, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Another meeting. Have a great afternoon. You guys, thank you so much for being here again. Thank you to Kevin Mohall for sharing today. Thank you to Lashika, who is the fire behind it all. Lashika Phillips, thank you so much. Kelly Garrett, what would we do without you? Thank you so, so much. Thank you to our panelists. I'm going to scroll up so I can see your names again. Remy, oh my God, please come back again. Mr. Tom Brown, thank you so much for being in the house. Michelle, you bought it today. Thank you so much. And congratulations on 99 years. That's incredible. Thank you so much. Miss Phyllis in the house. Thank you so much, Phyllis, for being here. You were the early bird, but we didn't hear from you that much. We want you to come back again. Angela, how are you? Great to see you. Miss Claudia Way in sunny California. I hope it stays warm in your area. Thank you so much for what you shared today. Miss Ann, we didn't hear from you earlier. We heard from you. Thank you so much for sharing. And Johnny, is Johnny going? Did Johnny? There she is, Johnny. Thank you so much. I hope I'm not leaving out anybody. Did I leave anybody out? I don't want to leave anybody out, because you guys have made my job so much easier today. People are still like lingering in the chat saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's to you guys. Thank you so very much. That's for you. Thank you so very much. Again, fill out the survey. People, guys, you just making me smile. This is so awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I can say thank you all day, but I'm going to leave. I'm going to go eat. Bye, y'all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.